Hello everyone, Interact back here again with another episode of Entity Education. In this episode, we're going to be covering the twins, probably better known as Charlotte and Victor Deshays? I'm not French. As always, the timestamps will be down in the description below, as well as on the time track and the pinned comment. Before we start, I feel obligated, as of the YouTube meta, to tell you that about 60% of you guys are not subscribed. And honestly, I just don't really care. You do what you want to do. This video is also simultaneously sponsored by and has been extremely delayed by my crippling addiction to One Piece and World of Warcraft. Huge shout out to my so-called friends for getting me back into my nearly 2-decade-long battle with addiction to World of Warcraft. Thanks guys. Moving on to the twins, the topic of this video. They have two different stats, but let's start with Charlotte, who has the normal basic stats of a basic killer, terror radius of 32 meters, and movement speed of 4.6 meters per second, or 115%. So let's move on to the other part of the twins, and talk about their power, Blood Bond. By pressing mouse 2, PC of course, you will unbind Victor, changing from playing as Charlotte to playing as Victor, the second part of the twins. While playing as Victor, you will be obviously much smaller, not have a terror radius at all, and move at 6 meters per second, or 150% speed. Due to his size as a legally distinct from being a baby, because he is not a baby, don't say that, he is unable to vault windows, break pallets, or damage generators. Essentially anything that you can do by pressing the spacebar, he cannot do, with the exception of checking lockers. He is also unable to pick up survivors and hook them because once again he is too small, as a legally distinct entity from being a baby. Victor is unable to see scratch marks, but any blood left behind by injured survivors bleeding will be highlighted in the nice radioactive orange juice color that behavior likes to use. You can swap between either one of the twins, between Victor or Charlotte, by holding down left control, PC of course. Doing so will make Victor or Charlotte go stationary and will swap you to the other twin. If you do release Victor while controlling Charlotte, the survivors will get a global noise, which is what my mods on Discord have described as an EDM drop sound, letting them know that Victor is on the loose. There are some slight restrictions on when and where you can swap between Charlotte and Victor. You will be unable to do it if you are within 4 meters of an exit gate panel, 6 meters of the hatch, or 16 meters of a hook. While controlling Victor, you will be unable to attack normally, but you may hold down mouse 2 to charge up a pounce, and unleashed by pressing the attack button after it is fully charged. While charging up a pounce, you'll be slowed down massively, moving at only about 2.4 meters per second or 60% speed. Pounce will launch Victor at a quite incredible speed. The code says you move at a velocity of about 28.35 meters per second or 708.75% speed, which is just a little bit fast. You can pounce through windows and over pallets, although your vertical look angle is limited somewhat, so you can't just shoot straight up in the air. And it can be difficult to actually pull off going through windows and pallets because of, angles and hitboxes and whether or not you sacrificed a goat this morning to behavior or not. If your pounce misses a survivor and bumps into an object, you will suffer a cooldown of 3 seconds. If you manage to hit a healthy survivor with a pounce, Victor will latch onto their backs, revealing their aura for 5 seconds, and making them suffer from the Broken, Oblivious, and a new status effect called Incapacitated. The Incapacitated status effect will merely make survivors unable to interact with just about anything that requires the mouse 1 input, as well as using items. There are of course exceptions to this. They will still be able to open exit gates, use the hatch, drop pallets and vault windows, and unhook other survivors. Survivors who have Victor on their back will be unable to leave through the exit gates as well. If Victor pounces and lands on a survivor while they are already injured, they will just go down, and Victor will suffer a cooldown as if it was a normal hit. If a survivor walks up to Victor while he is in any cooldown state, they will be able to crush him by kicking him. This will take 0.35 seconds and will destroy Victor, forcing you back into playing as Charlotte and putting Victor on a very brief recharge time of 6 seconds. If Victor is on a survivor and they refuse to yeet him off, you can recall him after 30 seconds. Victor is also able to stay idle in a location while you control Charlotte for up to 90 seconds before automatically being recalled to Charlotte. This timer will reset anytime you take control of Victor, even for a brief second, so make sure you keep an eye on the red bar on your power icon if you want him to camp something for you. As of hotfix 4.4.1, Victor can search lockers. If a survivor's in the locker when he searches it, he will lock them in the locker for 10 seconds and will force you back to playing as Charlotte. While idle, Victor acts essentially as a motion detector, giving off killer instinct notifications of any survivor who moves within certain distances of him. The distance at which killer instinct triggers varies based on what Victor is currently doing. If he's just plain idle, he gives out notifications in a radius of 12 meters, and if he is attached to a survivor, the radius is increased slightly to 14 meters. The only way survivors cannot trigger these killer instinct notifications outside of obviously standing still is by crouching and moving. Even if they are downed and crawling on the ground, they will still give notifications while moving, assuming that they are in range of Victor. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about add-ons now. We start off at the common tier with Toy Sword. This add-on will slightly decrease the charge time of Pounce. This means a reduction to Pounce charge time of 0.25 seconds, bringing it down to 0.75 seconds total. Next up is Tiny Fingernail. This add-on will moderately decrease the time for Victor to separate from Charlotte. This means a reduction of 0.5 seconds to release Victor, bringing it down to 0.5 seconds total. Following that, we have Soured Milk. This add-on will slightly increase the radius of Victor's shrieks. This means an increase of his shrieking range of 2 meters, bringing it up to 16 meters while attached and 14 meters while dormant/idle. And the final common add-on is Cat Figurine. This add-on will display the location of your Pounce, which is exactly what it says. Moving on to uncommon add-ons, we start with Madeline's Glove. This add-on will moderately increase the radius of Victor's shrieks. This means an increase of his shriek radius of 4 meters, bringing it up to 18 meters while attached and 14 meters while dormant/idle/ whatever you want to call it. Next up is Ceremonial Candelabrum. This add-on will slightly increase the time it takes to crush Victor. This add-on, living up to the title of slightly, means an increase of 0.15 seconds, bringing it up to 0.5 seconds total to kick Victor in his little face. Next up is Cat's Eye. The add-on will make Victor's shrieks stop when a Pounce is fully charged. That's it. Next up is Bloody Black Hood. This add-on will slightly decrease the time for Charlotte to awaken from her dormant state, like a Pillar Man. This means a reduction of 0.5 seconds to wake Charlotte, bringing it down to 2.5 seconds total. And the final uncommon add-on is Baby Teeth, despite the fact that Victor is not a baby and is legally distinct from being a baby. This add-on will make survivors who remove Victor suffer from the blindness status effect for 15 seconds. Moving on to rare add-ons now, we start with Weighty Rattle. Once again, Victor is not a baby. This add-on will make survivors who remove Victor suffer from the broken status effect for 20 seconds. Next up is Stale Biscuit. This add-on will slightly decrease the cooldown of Pounce. This means a reduction of 0.5 seconds to the cooldown, bringing it down to 2.5 seconds total. Next up is Sewer Sludge. This add-on will slightly increase the time it takes survivors to remove Victor from their backs. This means an increase to the total time it takes to yeet Victor off of your back of 2 seconds, bringing it up to 10 seconds total. Following that is Rusted Needle. This add-on will make survivors who remove Victor suffer from the hemorrhage status effect until healed. And the final rare add-on is Madeline's Scarf. This add-on will slightly increase Victor's speed. This means an increase of 0.4 meters per second to Victor's movement speed, bringing him up to 6.4 meters per second or 160% speed. Going up a tier, the first very rare add-on is Victor's Soldier. This add-on will make survivors who crush Victor while he is idle have their aura revealed for 6 seconds. Next up is Spinning Top. This add-on will make survivors hit by Victor's Pounce drop their items. Let it rip. Next up is Forest Stew. This add-on will moderately increase Victor's speed. This means an increase of 0.6 meters per second to Victor's movement speed, bringing him up to 6.6 meters per second or 165% speed. And the final very rare add-on is a drop of perfume, in case you weren't sure that they're French. This add-on will make survivors within Victor's shrieking range suffer from the oblivious status effect. Now let's move on to the twins' ultra rare add-ons, which are very simple, much like all of their add-ons. We start with Silencing Cloth, which has some very disturbing implications. This add-on will grant Charlotte the undetectable status effect for 12 seconds after waking from her idle state. And the other ultra rare add-on, and the final add-on in general, is Iridescent Pendant. This add-on will make survivors who crush an idle victor suffer from the exposed status effect for 12 seconds, which is honestly what they deserve for crushing poor little Victor. Now let's talk about the teachable perks you'll unlock when you put your blood points into the twins. I don't know why you would. At level 30, you'll unlock the teachable for the perk Hoarder. Hoarder will do absolutely nothing. Oh, wait, they fixed it. Never mind. Hoarder will give you a loud noise notification when a survivor interacts with a chest, he said his own name, or picks up an item within 32/48/64 meters of you. The trial will also begin with 2 additional chests. At level 35, you'll unlock the teachable for the perk Oppression. Oppression will make it so when you damage a generator, aka you kick it, up to 3 other random generators on the map will begin regressing as well. If the affected generators are being repaired, any survivors repairing them will receive a difficult skill check. This effect has a cooldown of 120/100/80 seconds. And at level 40, you'll unlock the teachable for the perk that I really don't want to pronounce because someone will yell at me if I do it wrong. Coup d'etat will make it so that anytime a generator is repaired, you will gain a token. You will consume your coup de grace token whenever you lunge, and coup de gracie will increase the distance of your lunge by 40/50/60%. So let's talk about some tips for playing the bitch and the legally distinct from being a baby. A major factor that goes into playing the twins, in a lot of people's opinions, and I agree with them, is pretty much slugging and camping. Since Victor has such an easy time chaining downs together and chasing down injured people since he moves obscenely fast, has a pseudo ranged attack, and just hones in on blood like he's running Bloodhound, it's really easy to just injure people with Charlotte, try to keep them injured with some kind of slowdown perk or pressure or whatnot, and then just chain down them with Victor. The major issue with slugging is that with the recent buff to We're Gonna Farm Forever, and the fact that everyone and their mother runs Unbreakable, and a fair amount of people run Soul Guard, slugging is just not in a very good spot at the moment, making the strategy not very good. The other thing that the twins are good at is proxy camping, or just plain old regular camping. Behavior tried to make this not feasible by putting the 16-meter hook restriction in, but it's still really good. Since you can basically just be in 2 places at once, you're kind of just a better hag at hook camping. Since Victor will give off Killer Instinct notifications to tell you when someone is even coming for the unhook, then you just swap back to Victor and latch onto their head, or down them. Honestly, that's basically all the twins are really that good at. If you aren't using Victor properly, which can be difficult because it really depends on the loop whether you should even bother trying to use him or not, you're just a plain old big M1 killer. Victor can down survivors easily since Pounce goes really far and really fast, but if you miss it, they're just going to walk up and punch you like a football, and you've wasted a lot of time. And that's kind of just it. I don't really like the twins since their playstyle is kind of boring, and personally, I hate camping, and I hate slugging. And that's only partly one of the reasons why this video took forever to make. So let's talk about perks to use when playing the twins. I'm honestly not sure of what the quote-unquote like best perk build for the twins is, because normally I'll play them a bunch myself and watch other people who I respect the opinions of play them, and nobody wants to play them. Anyways, I believe that there's like a few perks and build styles that will work well with their playstyle. One of them I think is Sloppy Butcher, Nurse's Calling, and Thanatophobia. You probably want to fill in the last perk slot with some kind of tracking, like Discordance or Whispers or something like that. This style of build will take advantage of the fact that if you injure survivors as Charlotte, and you want to keep them injured, aka Sloppy Butcher and nurses, and then Thana will slow down gens a little bit for you, you can just finish off the job with Victor, assuming that you can of course land your pounces. Another build that I think is a little bit more conceptual, and maybe not as good as the previous one where you just slow down healing a bunch, is running something like just straight up enduring Spirit Fury, Brutal Strength, and like Bamboozle or a tracking perk or something. Corrupt Intervention, I don't know. This perk build, I think, is more of a concept of shoring up your weaknesses, where you are stuck as just being Charlotte, which is just an M1 killer, and having really strong chase potential as an M1 killer by ignoring pallets, ignoring windows, breaking through everything really quickly. And honestly, I think Brutal Strength is getting better the more and more they add breakable walls in everywhere. So if you can't chase as Victor and you have to chase as Charlotte, this will be a decent build, I guess. You could always be extremely boring and just run Ruin and Undying if you felt like it, but I don't really think that the twins have the map pressure to support Ruin and Undying, because while Victor can't get around a lot, you do kind of lose control of him every once in a while, and you're not going to be able to pressure the map as much as, say, a Billy or a Nurse or something like that. But if you want to, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I won't snitch. Mix and match whatever perks that I've listed that you think work best from each strategy for the best effect. I've personally been running Sloppy Butcher, Thanatophobia, Brutal Strength, and Enduring, and it's been working out decently, I guess. Your results may vary. So let's talk about a meme build for the twins. I could only really come up with one because their add-ons are really boring. The one meme build that I could think of is, I'm just going to call it Karma. For this build, you're going to want to bring the add-ons Iridescent Pendant and Victor's Toy Soldier. For perks, you're going to want to bring Insidious, and whatever other perks you want. Basically, the plan is just to hide Charlotte somewhere, and then plop Victor nearby in the middle of the open. Maybe near a generator or a totem. Maybe you could run a hex totem, put him near a hex totem. Somewhere where he will be easily spotted, and just wait and lurk nearby. If a survivor decides that they really just want to run up and kick Victor, give them some karma, pop out, down them with that exposed status effect, and throw them on a hook, and then face camp them if you feel like it, I don't know. And that's it for this episode of Entity Education, covering Charlotte and Victor Deshoys. I can't pronounce French words, I'm sorry. Probably better known as the twins. As always, links to all social media, Twitch, Patreon, whatever, up on the screen right now. Like the video if you liked it. If you don't, then don't. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you don't, then don't subscribe. I don't care. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which will probably be covering the Clowns rework and will be out a lot faster than this video because it won't be coming out around the holidays when I want to spend time with my family. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.